commit in class, I remember when my teacher said, "Oh, Isabel, it's not like this." So I think it's a good thing because you can learn. That's the purpose, right? And just it, I think we have take a moment. We must have take a moment to change this image of ourselves. I don't know if it makes sense to you, but for me, that helped a lot to develop my English. It's not just talk more, you know, you have to talk more with the conscience that we're doing this, and it's okay to make mistakes.
Yes, it does make sense. And I think it's different when you're trying to communicate with people and when you're trying to learn English to get a proficiency exam, for example. Because when you do that, you are more focused on grammar and standard kind of English. And while speaking to people informally, and when you get to know slangs and stuff, you want to communicate, you don't focus that much on grammar, like on being perfect, on being the perfect speaker. You know what I mean? But I think that yes, having speaking partners is a must when trying to improve your speaking skills. Try to, I think I would give an advice like try to focus on topics that really they are relatable to you. For example, I like video games, for example. So I like watching the gameplay from video games I enjoy playing, and I get to listen to different vocabulary, words, idioms. I love it, I get to learn a lot from them. So having a speaking partner, try to focus on something that you really enjoy, watching or doing while learn English at the same time, right? Does it make sense?
Hmm.
You're so quiet.
Speaking of idioms, can I mention something quickly?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Oh, okay. So I realized that I did not respond to Karina earlier.
Right.
She asked about if Canadians can understand other words from other variants of English, like UK, Australian, American, etc. And generally speaking, yes, but it's never 100%. It's maybe 80 to 90% probably. America is much closer to 100%, but when it comes to the UK or Ireland or Scotland or Australia, it lowers quite a bit. And idioms are one of the things that really change. So if someone says an idiom from the UK, Canadians might not understand it whatsoever. Americans might not understand it. Australians might not understand it because idioms are so cultural. So I know my students always tell me they want to memorize idioms because that indicates natural speech. And it does, but only in particular regions. So I always say that it's important to learn the idioms of the region where you're focusing your English on, if that makes sense.
Perfect. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a word that you guys share with another English-speaking country that means something different that could lead to misunderstanding?
Yes, all the time actually. For example, one that is quite common, it's a phrasal verb in British English, to get on. And when people hear to get on in Canada or in the United States, depending on the context, it could be confused because to get on in North America means to have sex. But in British English, it means you just enjoy the company of your friend or person, right? So instead we use a different phrasal verb in North America, which is to get along with. So we have a lot of these phrasal verbs, and prepositions change between variants too all the time. And that can create a lot of confusion, especially when it is cultural vocabulary like clothing or food or traditions or holidays. Those change a lot. Like if someone says pants, in the UK, people in Canada and the United States will think they're talking about what they're wearing on their legs, but they're referring to what they wear underneath their exterior clothing. Whereas here, we call that underwear. So we have a different word for it, and we share the same word pants, but it's a different definition.
Josh,
Yeah, definitely the same happens in Spanish.
did
Yes.
you ever have a student telling you that he got really nervous while speaking to you because you were a native English speaker, and you know, it does make a difference when you are like learning English with a native English teacher than with a non-native English teacher. Like I'm so embarrassed to talk to Josh because he's a native. He's Canadian. Did you ever have a student telling you that?
Yeah, actually, the very first lesson I have with a student, they usually say that. So I always have to encourage them and let them know that I want them to make mistakes, and I'm encouraging mistakes because that's the only way that they can learn. Without making mistakes, there's no ability to learn because you're already there. So I always let them know that it's okay to make mistakes, that it is a natural part of the learning process, and that if they did not make mistakes, well, then they wouldn't need me. So there's no point to even being there. So I try to make them feel comfortable and safe in the environment to let them know that it's okay. And
Wow.
usually they change their mind after a little while.
Especially if they are beginners, like, or intermediate speakers, right, English.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
might feel a little bit embarrassed. Do you guys feel embarrassed by talking to native English speakers?
I used to.
You used to.
I used to, but I mean, I will admit that I felt like that a lot, especially in the beginning of my career, you know, because when I was studying at the university, there was this program in which the government would bring some native speakers to the university. And then I felt a lot uncomfortable to talk to native speakers, you know. But after a while, when I got on with my studies, and I had lots of other experiences with native speakers, and I don't feel like I feel that way now anymore, you know. So I think experience brings that, maybe. And I have discovered that this fear is so much. It's something that brings you a barrier, you know, like you missed opportunities to learn because of fear. So as my brother says, you know, everything good is after the fear, you know. So we should not feel like that. That's what I think about it. We should not be afraid, especially because generally native speakers know that we are not native speakers, so
Yeah.
we are gonna make mistakes naturally, you know. And nowadays, I think that I fear more other speakers of my native language that also speak English, you know, because they will know why do I commit certain mistakes, you know. They will know more than a native speaker would know, maybe, you know, because they are from the same nation or the same region that I am. So, but I'm also working on that. So that's what I think.
I used to feel my heart pounding, you know, like, oh my God, there's a native speaker coming. Oh my God.
I don't know about you guys. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
Jesus.
Josh. Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
don't know. I don't know about you guys, but my first time speaking to a native speaker, I was intermediate, and I thought I was very good. So I'm fucking amazing. Sorry, excuse my French. I'm fucking amazing. Blah blah blah. And when I talked to the native, I couldn't understand anything. So I just, oh my God. what is he talking about? I can't understand a thing. And I got very nervous and it was
Mm.
very frustrating to me. And when I um, stopped the conversation, I just took my book and started to write and read again. That's why it was very embarrassing for me.
Do you feel
Had
that
to.
like there? Do you feel there's a difference like from English that we learn out of books and that we learn like from real life English? You know what I mean? Did you understand my
This
question?
question,
I think sometimes
Yeah.
it depends. For example, I remember once I was in a clothing store and somebody came up to me. I think it was American. He was asking for help to find a blouse for his wife. Back then, I could understand, but I didn't know how to speak. And I was trying to help him. And I think it's books don't always prepare you for different accents, for slangs, for informal English. Also, I was shy and I didn't have confidence. But I think there's a difference. Yes.
Hikaru, you wanted to say something, right?
Uh, I, I did I raise my hand? I'm sorry. I would actually, I was about to ask you what was the question because I didn't understand, and then Karina answered, so I didn't say anything. But I'd like to know what is the question?
From my perspective, I think that learners or students have a hard time. They struggle with speaking because sometimes they don't understand not only the shyness, there was shyness and everything, but they don't understand the real English from the English that is taught out of the books, out of grammar books. So is there a difference like from the real life English to the English from books?
Yeah,
That's my question.
I definitely think that is a difference, and that falls on that thing that I said before, it might come from the attempt that some of the book writers have to standardize English because maybe to make it easier for some people for people to study it, but I think it is
a
important
pattern.
for those book writers to keep in mind that there are different cultures that they could approach in their books, especially because nowadays there are more native, as I always say, there are more no native speakers of English than native speakers. So it depends a lot, of course, because it depends on whether your student's going to travel to a country of native speakers or whether he or she is going to, talk to people from different languages that are not English, you know? So you have to keep that in mind because mostly, for example, Brazil is a country where English is taught as a foreign language, It's not our second language, it's not our first language. And most of us are going to have more opportunities to talk to people that are not native, you know? So what is important for us? Is it to learn the American English, the Australian English, or the British English, or is it important for us to learn the global English, international English? Since we're going to use English with people from other countries that are made of non-native speakers. So it depends on who you are teaching.
I always hear people saying that when they learn English from college or language courses, once they travel abroad, they go there and they get to talk to a native speaker, they go like, "Oh, what? What are you saying? What?" Because of the different varieties of English, especially like street English. I was told that that's also like black English. You know
Yeah.
different kind of realities from English. Do you think we should learn those kind of things like while improving the speaking skills? Is it
I think
necessary?
I think we should have I think we should have at least an idea of these different varieties, you know. I think we should, because we know that it's something vast, you know.
Yeah.
There are so many varieties, so that's why I think it's important for you to focus on your goal, you know, because it's very like it's different varieties. It's not possible to learn every single thing about each one of them, you know.
Mhm.
But I think that if you have this, I don't know what to say more, but I
Aware,
think that's,
aware, aware. You
yes, you
just
have to
need
be
to be
aware.
aware.
You need to be aware that there are differences, as much as there are differences in your country, for example, you know.
Mhm.
That's why, once again, it's so important for Brazilians to keep in mind that there is not such a thing as a standardized Portuguese, no standard
Mhm.
Portuguese. We have Northeast Portuguese, we have North Portuguese, we have Southeast Portuguese, you know.
Mhm.
So we have to be aware of these differences, so that we are open-minded to, you know, learn with the differences and
Mhm.
acquire new abilities. You know, that's what I think.
I think that's one thing that is
Um,
kind of. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
Thank you. I think that's
Never
one.
mind.
That's one thing that I think is actually kind of problematic with English textbooks sometimes, is that they try to teach this concept of standardization, but like you said, Hikaru, like people don't really speak that way in the world. And if you learn to speak that way, then you're not going to understand real English that is spoken or even real English that is written outside of the classroom. So it can be a huge a huge obstacle for a learner when they are trying to improve their English. And when a textbook says, you know, this is the way that you say it, I kind of wish that textbooks would say where it is said that way or in what situation it is said that way. For example, they usually show formal ways of saying things. Well, there are also informal ways of saying things. And when they talk about expressions or idioms, etc., these are not blanket statements. Not everybody is going to understand these because really in the English language, in the Anglosphere where English is spoken natively, idioms are starting to be phased out and they're mostly common among older generations. So younger generations don't use them very often. Some of them don't even understand them. So there are ones that are still common and they are common to each region, but they're not shared among all regions or all generations. So I kind of wish there was a textbook that would, you know, talk about modern English, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
And practical English, practical English.
Yeah, yeah. It's something for. I think maybe if we are not dreaming too much, maybe in the future, who knows, right? That is something like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Guys, I have a question. Firstly, sorry because I have a problem, a timing problem. I just wait, and when I come, when I need to talk, oh my God, I interrupt you guys. Sorry.
Don't worry, don't worry.
Uh, um, I've been using apps, and I have reading um people talking in Portuguese, and foreigners trying to understand the Portuguese. And people from Portugal and people from here, they have, I think more to Portugal, they have a conflict because the Portuguese is way different than us. So I want to ask you guys if you want, if you guys agree to have a one specific Portuguese, you know, like Portugal, or we just need to use all Portuguese and respect them and use ours. Because in my opinion, I love my accent, I love my language, and people from Portugal, they used to say, you don't speak Portuguese. you speak Brazilian, you know? And sometimes I just think, um, do I really speak Portuguese or speak Brazilian? Because it's really way different, but it's still Portuguese, and I have this question in my mind. So, what you guys think about?
I think that you speak the purest Portuguese, so don't worry, because every variation is a very good Portuguese, you know. So when Portuguese people say that, they don't know what they're talking about, you know, and that's why, you know, we have this colony. Although we are an independent country for you know, about two centuries, I think, we have this mentality that Portuguese for Portugal is the best Portuguese. How come our culture is so rich, you know? And we are the ones who export culture to them. It's not they who is, it's not them who export to us, you know? So my friend, their Portuguese is important. Their Portuguese is important, and yours is important too. Not it's nothing more or less than the other. You know, you have to keep that in mind. That's what I think.
Well said.
What do you guys think? And if you Josh, I know you don't you're not a Portuguese native, but you can compare your English, you know, so you can respond, answer me
Yeah.
if you want.
I feel like people should not have to change the way they speak just because they're speaking to someone who has a different variety of the same language. Because if you do that, then you are immediately saying that you are inferior. And you're not inferior. We're all the same, we're all human. And you are both speakers of the same language, just different variants. So if someone from Portugal says that you aren't speaking real Portuguese just because it's different from them, well, technically you could say they aren't speaking real Portuguese because it's different from you. So it's all about perspective. So I think if you just speak the way that you speak and you embrace that, I think you will be okay. And it's the same with English. It's very unnatural in English to all of a sudden speak British because you're speaking to a British person, or all of a sudden speak Australian because you're speaking to an Australian. We don't do that. We just speak the way that we speak. And if there are miscommunications or things that we don't understand, we ask and then we laugh about it because we take pleasure in the fact that there's differences that make us unique. So if you apply that to your life in the Portuguese language, then it will make things a lot easier for yourself.
I think it has to do with
Thank
prejudice,
you.
you know, when you say that language is superior than another language, you know, you have to speak like that because it's better. This is not real English. This is not real Portuguese. It's because like I look down on you, want to be better than you or something like that, you know. There's a lot of diversity and variety in languages all over the world, so you should not like I don't want to embrace it, you know, like this is the best language ever. There's no such thing, you know.
Yeah.
We should be aware of that, you know, not just like, oh my God, I'm feeling inferior because I'm not, you know, I don't speak Portuguese, real Portuguese. There's no such a thing, you know.
And Isabelle's right too, what she's saying in the chat. I completely agree.
And Giza, you know, I think you know, like me, even here in our country, we face some problems. You know, I'm from Bahia. You know, when I go to São Paulo, I face problems with them because they think accent. You know, if you notice, they think we are funny. Our accents are funny. There's not a problem to be funny, but I feel uncomfortable because you know I'm just speaking and somebody just laughing at me because my accent is funny, and this thing it makes me uncomfortable and anxious. You know, I I just wanted to respect everybody. And yeah, we should, like just said, we just laugh, and if we have some mispronunciation, something different, we just laugh and correct, but not just make fun about your accent and about your state or where or wherever you're from or wherever you're from.
Mm.
No?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense to me. Okay, you can go first.
Isabelle, what are you from, Isabelle?
That's
Minas
a
Gerais.
question.
Minas Gerais, right?
Yeah,
Minas
I'm
Gerais.
from
How
Minas.
do you say Minas Gerais or Minas Gerais?
I'm not Mineira,
Oh.
Oh.
so I am not speak as the person who was born here, you know.
All right.
But I said Minas Gerais. That's
Gerais.
different.
Yeah.
All right.
We say
I
Minas
was
Gerais.
yeah. I was going to
What does
okay
that mean?
to give Josh and Karina
Different
some context.
accents.
Yeah.
Yes, to give Josh and Karina some context. The southeast of Brazil is the richest part of Brazil, you know, and sometimes there is this prejudice that Gian mentioned. Uh, that of course not all of the inhabitants of the southeast are like that, but sometimes they have some prejudices with people from the north. I am from the north, Jesus from the north, Lucas is from the north too, um, and the people from the northeast, because it might be related to the fact that we are the poorest part of Brazil, you know, here in Amazon and in the northeast of Brazil. So this is there is a long history of prejudice, you know, here in Brazil. That's why sometimes the famous comedians tend to come from the Northeast, if I'm not mistaken, right, Chia? So there's this
Oh.
thing that people think that people from the Northeast, they have this prejudice that it is funny, you know. Oh, their accent is funny, and you know, all of the jokes are around them, you know. And sometimes people from from Southeast, they don't know how to differentiate people from the North and people from the Northeast. So it is very common for them to confuse people from Belém with people from Salvador, for example. Are you from Salvador, Jean?
Very different. Yes, I'm from Salvador, but now I live in Feira de Santana.
All right. So
It's the
there is a
second.
very, yes, there is a range of varieties, you know, from Northeast to North.
Yeah,
People from
very
Southeast,
different.
yes, we are very different and they think we are the same, you know. So it's something
Yeah,
very
Yeah.
complicated.
you have this
So
vision of a preconception vision, you know, of the areas between the same country. I know this because I live in a state different the state that I was born, and my daddy is Baiano. He's from Feira de Santana. So yeah,
Wow.
so I know this because we have this preconception. But the difference is there are some people who are not able who are not interested in learning or change their opinion. But we are. So you can do this and for starting now and going ahead, you know, that's the difference. I like to think like this. We have this preconception, but we don't need to take this for by us for, like everyone else. So
Yeah.
just ignore this and think, oh, I didn't found the funny thing here. That's the point.
Mhm.
I
That's it.
speak.
Yes,
Yeah, go
Lucas.
on, Lucas.
So I'm not from Belém. I'm from the west. I'm from Piauí. So and how I've been there, I have been there in Belém for 5 years. I'm struggling with uh, this problem because uh, always when I say something, when I'm talking, the people said you're not from here, so where where are you from? You know. And in my class, there is a student that is not from Brazil, that is from Africa. Uh, his her country is Cabo Verde. I think in English
Cape,
it's
Cape,
Cab,
Cape,
Cape.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Cape,
So,
Cape.
so I have the true experience. I think to be judged and to judge other other accent, you know. So I think we don't have to be afraid of speak how we speak because it's part of who we are, you know. The this student, my classmate, is an inspiration for me because his accent is really heavy. The our song is really heavy, and we don't care about it, you know. So I talk like that, I speak like that. So you have to get used to, and people get used to joke about, and he don't care. She don't care, and I think it's really a great thing to do. You know, that is a lot of ways to speak a language. So there is a lot of accents. So why choose one to be the right one? So
It is
diversity
impossible.
is always a great thing to have. You know, it's
Yeah,
constructive. It's
Mhm.
what I wanna
I
say.
agree.
Yes.
I agree with you, Lucas. I agree with you, but I was trying to say one thing. Josh is from Canada. Maybe another state they have different accent, and it's okay. I'm just saying that when you watch a movie in Portuguese, and this movie is from America, and you watch in Portuguese. The only how the word dublador. I
Dub.
forgot this
Dub.
word. You guys
Uh,
know
Dub.
what?
Josh, do you know how the yeah? But the
Mhm.
person
Dub.
who does that,
So yes, thank you. The person who does that.
Mhm.
Uh, um, when you dub a word a movie, they're always from São Paulo and
Yeah.
Rio.
Oh,
Yes.
really?
Yeah.
They don't accept people from Northeast. Only when you maybe only when you specify people with financial problems like a maid or I don't know from the country people, the
and
people that yeah, a
I
grocery
have
store,
seen.
you know,
No, I
that's
think
it.
I have seen a movie. I think I have seen a movie, an American movie, in which the Texan people were, or people from the south of the U.S. were dubbed as Northeasterners because in the U.S. they have this prejudice against the Texan people too, which is really relatable
Yeah,
at some points to the prejudice with people
yeah,
from southeast, from northeast of Brazil. Sorry.
Hmm.
So they usually they think, oh my God, this is so much prejudice. How come? You know?
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
God.
yeah, yeah. But it's different. I don't know. I think here is more strong. That thing is more strong. I don't know.
So guys, thanks for
So,
being here. Thanks for being here. I'm really happy that Josh has accepted because most of native speakers that I know through online social medias, they don't get to, you know, say yes or something. Yeah, I want to engage in that, that meeting or something like that. So that's why I feel happy that you are here with us, that you had this amazing conversation with us. So feel really grateful too, really, from the bottom of my heart.
Well, thank you. It's been fascinating. It's been a great conversation.
I have one question just for know. This meeting happen all the Fridays, always on Fridays, in every single week.
Usually, I think. Jesus is the one who has to say it. I'm sorry, Jesus.
Guys,
We
guys,
usually
Jesus is the boss here. Go on, Jesus.
Jesus is the boss. I'm sorry.
Hurry up, hurry up.
it
So,
was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to talk to you guys.
yes.
Thank you so much.
We usually have the meetings on Fridays and Saturdays, all right? But
Thank you,
tomorrow I
John.
will have
Likewise.
this meeting with another person. That's why we won't have like a Saturday meeting, but it will be on Fridays and Saturdays. Okay, look. Usually. But tomorrow, no meeting.
Oh,
So
Fridays
Resting
is
tomorrow.
better.
Woo.
sorry, Karina.
Hey guys, it was no, just resting tomorrow. Yeah. I mean, this is not like a, yeah, I have worked a lot, sorry. Well, it was a pleasure, guys. I hope to see you soon, even though you didn't see me, sorry. And enjoy your night. Yeah.
Enjoy your night. Take care. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Bye
it.
bye, guys. Thank you all.
Nice
Bye-bye.
meeting you all.
Bye. It was a
Bye,
pleasure.
Bye
bye,
bye.
Bye bye. It was a
bye,
pleasure.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.